You can leave, please. Thank you. Right, that's working now. All right, cool. Alex said something about Steak and Shake. I just want to go over that real quick again. Steak and Shake, I think, is something cool we do here just to build community, because we think this is important, but we also think doing life together is more important, and getting in circles is better than rows. So going, it's the Steak and Shake, doing life together. I always have a good time. It kind of makes everybody else mad because I just get rowdy. So if you don't want that to happen, don't come. But no, Steak and Shake's always fun. We have a good time, and we really encourage it because we think it's really beneficial to what we do here. So, with that being said, I'm going to pray real quick and we're going to get started. So, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for tonight. I thank you for everybody that's here tonight. May you just give me the words to say. May I decrease while you increase. And Father, I pray that everybody here tonight feels your presence. When more than one gather, we know you're in the room. So, Father, I just pray you let everybody in here know that you're here, Father. And may you just impact people tonight. In your name I pray, amen. All right, so. So if you ask me who in the Bible I best resonated with, it would have to be Peter. And now if you ask me why, probably, if I was going to be vulnerable, start back in the 3rd grade. Back in the 3rd grade, my school had All Saints Day, March at church, and it was lit, and your boy was St. Pete. And it was good. I don't know why I remember this memory so well, but I remember I was in the green row, and I had the Pope hat. I had one of them made out of paper. My mom made. I had a big yellow thing on it. It was green. That was all green. I had a big key that was like the size of me, and it was cardboard and duct tape. When the same, and it was lit. It was real lit. I started out lit. You know what I'm saying? You guys can laugh. It's okay. But no, for real, so that's when I started with St. Peter, was back then. And so tonight he's going to be our kind of focus, and I'm just going to keep walking through ways why I think I best resonate with Peter. So if we want to start, hold on. No, but we're going to start with the Last Supper. Peter kind of, at the Last Supper, speaks out a little bit, because Jesus is like, look, this stuff's going to happen. And then after that, this stuff's going to happen. You guys are all going to flee, and it's not going to be good. And Peter kind of looks at Jesus and does, I think, his most, righteous voice. He's like, not me, Lord. That thing, if your best friend says, you're going to turn on him, and he's like, no, dude, I wouldn't do that to you, you know what I'm saying? And then Jesus snaps at him and says, no, you're going to deny me 3 times before the rooster crows tonight. And Peter kind of doesn't say anything. I think maybe that's why I resonate best with Peter, because he's quick to speak before he thinks. I was like that too. I don't know. Growing up in my household, my mom was always, think before you speak, and if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? My mom was very good on that one. So maybe that's why I resonate best with Peter, because he speaks out really quickly. Well, so that happens, and then we go here. Now we can go to this quote. So we're here, John 18. Simon Peter and another disciple were following Jesus, because the disciple was known to the high priest, that's John. He went with Jesus into the high priest's courtyard, but Peter had to wait outside the door. Because John had a little more clout than Peter did, you know what I'm saying? He had a little more strings he could pull. Peter went outside the door. The other disciple, who was known to the high priest, came back to spoke to the servant girl on duty, and brought Peter in. You aren't one of this man's disciples too, are you? She asked Peter. He replied, I'm not. It was cold, and the servants and officials stood around a fire that they had made to keep warm. Peter also was standing with them, warming himself. We go next. Meanwhile, we jump down to 25. Meanwhile, Simon Peter was still standing there warming himself. So they asked him, you aren't one of his disciples, are you? He denied it, saying, I am not. Now, before we go on here real quick, I forgot to mention something. When Jesus gets arrested, Peter kind of goes crazy and pulls out a sword and goes to cut this guy's, he goes to harm this guy, and he gets this guy's ear. It cuts this guy's ears off. Or just one ear, I don't want to say two. Cuts his ear off. And so, this next one's important. He says, one of the high priest's servants, a relative of the man whose ear Peter had cut off. So let's say somebody cuts off my cousin's ear. I'm probably going to remember this dude, right? And he says, Didn't I see you with him in the garden? So he was there and he saw Peter. Peter, again, denied it. At that moment, the rooster began to crow. So Peter knows exactly what happened when that rooster crowed. He denies him 3 times. And so that takes me to a couple questions tonight. I don't know about memories, but do you guys ever have like memories just come back? Just like that? You can go to the next one. And so I was thinking about this message and like kind of how to work with it. And some of these memories just kept coming. And it's funny how senses kind of hit our memory, right? Like I see there's this water tower down I-75. And my dad used to coach a football team. And we lost to Piqua one year. And every time I drive down, I see the Piqua thing, and I think of that football game. You know, it's just weird how every time that memory comes in, you think of smells, like a campfire. A campfire, you know, you feel fall. You immediately think of fall. You immediately think of, you know, leaves changing. And for me, I think of this one memory when I'm camping. I just smell campfire, and it's real early in the morning. I'm real little. And I remember my grandpa outside the camper at a fire at like 5:30 in the morning, just watching the sun come up. I don't know why I remember that. That's the first thing that comes to my head when I smell fire. And then I don't know, like, so I do what sight, smell, hear. When you guys hear some things? Tell me music doesn't take you back. You know what I'm saying? Like my middle school days, I was in like an R&B phase. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, T-Pain, bartender, I'm at the bar. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Takes me back to watching MTV, back when MTV was nothing but music videos. You know? Oh man, I got so many songs coming back right now. Like, I can't sing that, but the songs I used to listen to. But no, like John Deere Green, that's a country song that makes me think of Nashville. Any Usher song would take me back to middle school. I didn't always listen to country music. I was just, you know, I had a little R&B phase going on. But sometimes we have memories that take us back to good places, like a campfire. Another memory I have is a big, like high school, I had a big bonfire. And it was just a neat little memory. Or a song, like I said, and it takes me back to Nashville. It was a good time in my life. We also have some things that we remember that aren't the best. You know, like me and my high school girlfriend song was All of Me, you know? All of me. I'm going to sing it here tonight because I got music in my head. So I'm like, all of you, all you. All right, so I'm done. But that song wasn't the best memory to come back to all the time, right? And so sometimes we have good memories and we have bad memories. And I don't know about you, but I have some things that bring back 2 memories. I might get in trouble for this illustration, but I know you guys don't know what this is, so I'm going to explain. But a 40-ounce Cobra, all right? Yeah, you guys don't know what that is. It's a beverage. That, every time I see one, I think of one of the worst nights of my life. And it takes me back to when I was not in a good place, just mentally, and where I was at. I think about that night every time. Every time I see a Cobra. But if I look past it, there's a good memory, and I'm not endorsing 40s up here. But I'm saying, once I get past it, I think of my friend. But that was his drink of choice, and if I think of him, I think of my call to ministry. So once I fight past the worst night of my life, I think of one of the most life-changing moments in my life, and my call to ministry. The call that changed my life drastically. So as we move forward, there's these memories that if we fight past them, we can always find something good about them. So I'm going to go next to see what happens next after Peter denies Jesus 3 times. See what he does. So John 21, 3-9. I'm going out to fish, Simon Peter told them, and they all said, we'll go with you. So they went out and got into the boat. That night they caught nothing. Maybe that's why I resonate with Peter. Because every time you see Peter fishing, he catches nothing. I don't know. Every time I like fishing, I'm just not the best at it. But anyways, early in the morning, Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that it was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, have you any fish? No, they answered. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you will find some. When they did, they were unable to haul the net, and because of the large number of fish. I just had 0 to 100, the drink song in my head, because it went from 0 to 100, and I got songs popping in my head still from those. Then the disciples whom Jesus loved said to Peter, it is the Lord. And as soon as Simon Peter hearing him said, it is the Lord, he wrapped his outer garments around him, for he had taken them off. fish naked, you're not doing it right. And jumped into the water. The other disciples followed in the boat, towing the net full of fish. They were not far from shore, about 100 yards. When they landed, they saw a fire burning up coals. There were fish on it and some bread. You go next one, 15 through 17. When they had finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? Yes, Lord. He said, you know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. And again, Jesus said, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him a third time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep. I think this is critical if we're going to be looking at Peter. So Peter, this isn't the first time this kind of happened. See, the first time Jesus and Peter met, it's called the call of Peter. He says the same situation. Peter has plenty of fish. He tells him to go on the other side, and then he calls him. He says, I'm going to make you a fisherman of men. So think about it. This isn't the first time Jesus has called Peter. So it doesn't say this, but I got to think that Peter's remembering the call. I heard this message this summer, and they talked about how the coals that Peter warmed himself over a fire when he denied him 3 times. And he gets to shore and there's a fire. And you know that distinct smell? And while he's smelling this, he says, do you love me? We can obviously see the correlation between the 3 times denied. He denies him 3 times, and the 3 times he asks, do you love me? I can't. So this was hard for me to comprehend, because why would the creator of the universe be asking something he already knows, especially 3 times? Okay, so cool, he did it to make it cancel out the denial, but I don't think Jesus was asking Peter because Jesus didn't know. I think he was asking Peter because I don't think Peter knew if he loved him. Because where was Peter? Peter was back in the boat. I think I resonate best with Peter, if I'm going to be completely honest, because I resonate best with Peter who went back to fishing. I resonate best with the Peter who said, I got too much shame and guilt on my shoulders and guilt on my conscience and regret in my life to be used by Jesus at all. So Peter, the man Jesus called to be a fisherman of men, goes back to just being a fisherman. He forgot what Jesus said over his life. And I think this is imperative. I think there's some people in here tonight that forgot what Jesus has said over your life and listen to what the world says and what you say. If I'm honest, I'm the leader in that. Sometimes when I'm forgetting what Jesus called in my life, I don't want to be up here. When I look in the mirror, I don't see Rise preacher. I don't see Rise leader. I don't see any of that. I see stuff that the world labels me with. Not good enough. You're nothing. Quit doing this. People say, nobody comes. You got to bring pizza to come. I don't care. It's really hard to fight through what the world says about you and remember what Jesus says about you. Because that's what Peter did. Peter said, all right, I deny Jesus, I'm out. Disqualifies himself. And what does Jesus do? He comes back and says, no, do you love me? He said, I know. Do you love me? Do you love me? And now, the next time Peter has to remember, he's like, yeah, I denied Jesus, but no, I love him. Yeah, I should be a fisherman, but he called me to be a fisherman of men, so I'm going to do that. Now he's got that second memory, and I think some of us in here have to fight through that bad memory of that denying Jesus and get to remembering what he said over you. Honestly, if I was going to be completely honest, I hope one of you guys remember something that isn't the best thing of your life this week. I want you guys to look past that and remember tonight. And remember what Jesus has said over your life. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Jesus calls us out of everything. Peter is soaking in his shame on the boat. The same one who stepped out of it to walk on water went right back to the boat. The same one who is known to walk on water, the only strictly human being to ever walk on water, sat and sulked in his shame, his regret. So if I'm here tonight, I think that's why I best resonate with him. Because there is so much freedom on the backside of shame and regret and guilt. There is so much freedom that Jesus has called us out of. And I know maybe you're here tonight thinking, I don't know, Jesus didn't come and ask me if I love them. Okay. But he did die for you. He didn't need to ask you. He's like, all right, I won't ask you, I'll just die for you. How about that? He died so you don't have to return to the boat. He died so you don't have to go back to your shame. He said, I'll die and I'll take all of it. You give it all to me. I'll take it. I'll carry it for you. And I'll let you move forward without it. The Bible says he cast all of our sin as far as the east is from the west. You are made white as snow. And I just want everybody in here to know that tonight, that you are made white as snow. And to not sit in our boats of shame. So before I close, I'm going to pray real quick. And there's more pizza. Eat all the pizza you guys want. I'm going to pray. So we can all bow our heads and close our eyes, just for the name, just out of respect for the name. Heavenly Father, I thank you so much for calling us out of the boat. God, I know there's people in here tonight dealing with stuff on their shoulders, stuff on their mind, on their hearts, God, and you're saying, give it to me. You're calling them out of the boat, Father. I pray people in here tonight let go of their shame, let go of their bondages that they're in, Father. I pray you let go of their addictions. Everything that they're battling, Father, I pray they let go tonight and see you. So if you're in here tonight and you're saying, Kruzel, I'm in the boat, and I don't know what to do, I just want to pray for you. I'm not going to call you out. Just if you're in that boat right now and you're recognizing what Peter said, just slip your hand up and down real quick, just so I can pray for you. Yeah. God, there's people here tonight that are in the boat, Father. I pray you call them out of it. God, I want to thank you for everybody in here tonight. I pray that this week is full of blessings. And I pray that there's a memory this week that we have to fight through to remember what you did for us. And God, I pray you give everybody in here the courage to fight through too. In your name I pray, amen. So after this, we're going to split up into small groups. Please take some pizza. There's water. Guys, the group's going to meet over here. Girls' group's going to meet in the parking lot.